this is an example of what we're going to be using right here. Before I do anything, we're going to use some Windex or glass cleaner to clean any kind of dirt or anything on the window itself. We are going to use a razor blade like this to scrape it, just to make sure that we don't have any paint flakes or anything else on the window itself. Now, the kit that we purchased that goes with it is made by the company as well, Gilla, and it's an application kit. This squeegee is actually not part of the kit, but what you see here is the solution. There's a low lint rag, a cutter, a squeegee, and this we don't need. But that's everything that we need. This is the low lint cloth that we're going to clean the final clean of the window. But and then once we cut the film to the proper length, we're going to wet the window down, and then stick it on top of the window. And the squeegee will be the squeegee out any kind of moisture that's still in there. All right, so all right, let me show you what the window is, and we'll get started. That's the part of the window we're going to be putting the film on. Now you see it has the ribs inside there. Those ribs are actually in the window itself, so it's one big piece of glass. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to put it over that glass, and we're going to squeegee it off. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the curtain rod to gain access to that window without any kind of obstruction. And of course we have a ladder so that we can get up there and reach even the highest spot up on top. All right, so let's get set up. I'm going to take these curtains down, and we'll get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up with that razor blade I told you about, and we're going to make sure that everything on the window is nice and clean. Make sure when you clean the window you get in all of these small little end pieces right over here, because that's where the film is going to have to hold on to as well. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to measure the length of the window itself at its widest point. And we got about 62 inches. So we're going to add an inch on either side, at least an inch on either side, so that it overlaps on the sides before we put it back on. So we know we're going to measure the length and the height, and then we're going to go over to the table and we're going to cut the film with the scissors. So all right, let me get these measurements, and we're going to go over and we'll cut that filament. Okay, so now we're going to measure our 62 is exactly. So we're going to make this actually 64. So we don't have it being too short. Now what we need to do is we need to separate right over here the filament from the paper on the back of it. So we're going to take a piece of tape like this and like this. We're just going to put this here so it doesn't roll up by accident. We're going to take one piece of tape and just stick it on the end, just like that. And I'm going to stick another piece of tape on the other side, just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to peel the paper off of the back of it. The sticky part here is the part that you're going to be using, and this is the part that we're going to be throwing away. So now what we're going to do is we have that pulled apart like this. We're not going to go any further. We're just going to stop right here. We're going to go in the front. We're going to spray the window, and then we're going to carry this over there. So let's go back out front, but that's how you separate the two pieces from each other. Tape on one side, tape on the other side, and just pull it apart. All right, let's go back in the front and continue there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to spray everything up really well up here where we're going to put the film back on the window. And we're going to use quite a bit because it's very sunny, as you can see. Okay, now we're going to spray the back of the film itself. We're just going to trim it just a little bit. Okay, now we have it cut just a little bit. Okay, so now that you worked all the air bubbles out of the window itself, we're going to take our utility knife or a razor blade or the tool that came with it, and we're going to slowly cut along so that the filament actually is right at the very edge of where the window meets the frame, and we're going to go around the entire window and cut out all of the excess material that's on there. Be careful when you cut it that you don't rip it. You want to make sure you do a nice cut versus tearing it. Okay, and that's the finished product. All right, so that's it. You can see it's all finished. It came out really good. You can see the top of it up here. It came out really nice. Now it'll actually cut down on the amount of light coming in the front window, so it'll be a little bit better. All right, it's a fairly easy job, a little bit awkward to work with the big sheet the way it is, 32 inches long or something like that. It's a little hard to hold it, but once you put it in the middle and you work from the middle to the ends, you just keep on spraying it. If it dries up, you pull the film back off, squirt the window again, and put your film back up. Make sure you have a film of the soapy solution underneath the tinting that you're putting on, because that way when you do actually push it up there, it'll push all the bubbles and everything out. It'll adhere to the window really well. So that's it. We're all done. All right, this job is finished. Let's get on to the next one. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.